This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual PURGE sanctioned by the U.S. government. DNFing books for any reasons have been authorized for use during the PURGE. Books that are not in the included category for the video have been granted immunity at this time and shall not be purged. Commencing at the siren, any and all DNFing will be legal until the end of this video. Bookstores of any kind will be unavailable until the end of the video until the PURGE concludes. Blessed by Barnes & Noble, indie bookstores, and all other booksellers, a nation reborn. May God be with you all. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be starting Owlcrate Volume 2, Episode 3. And I'm hoping this is the last one. I don't know. There are 8 books left. My plan was to either have 6 or 7 left, but because we read kind of chunky books in the last video and we read 3 out of the 5 and 2 of them were like 500 pages, yeah, we didn't have that much time to do that many books. So kind of hope that happens again because that means I'm loving everything, or at least I'm reading everything. So we could have 2 more videos, which was not originally part of the plan, but we'll see kind of as we go through these. And we're back to doing this. It is February 27th. It's February 27th. Tomorrow's the last day of February. Again, I kind of wanted to pick early. I talked about it in the last video a little bit, but it's nice giving myself options where I can pick this book. If I'm not in the mood, I can read something else and like come back to it when I'm feeling it, and not waiting until the last minute to pick a book and be like, oh, I don't want to read this, and then being stuck having to read it. So we're gonna go ahead and pick just because I want to have it ready, and if I want to read it, we read it. If I don't, we don't until later. So that way I'll luckily have this book. I'll have a romance. The Afterlight is here and I can start it. I'm also reading Phantasma right now for the book club, and then I'm also working on a project. I'm looking at the 3 books over there that I can read from those as well. So plenty of options, which is really nice. So we, like I said, I believe we have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We only have 1 tall book left, and I'm pretty sure it's The Longest Autumn, which I don't think I'm going to like, so I really don't want to pick it because it's just going to be like, I feel like I don't even want to read it. Like, do I just want to get rid of it? I feel like I just want to get rid of it. Let's just do that then. Like, I feel like bad doing that. We're going to pick this one. I'm going to try it, but we're also going to pick something else because this has such a low rating on Goodreads. Like, normally I'll avoid ratings on Goodreads or I won't trust them, but if something is below a 3.5, generally it probably isn't very good. There are very few exceptions to that rule, so I still like to give something a shot, but this is like a 3.3. That generally means it's pretty bad, unfortunately, but we're still gonna give it a shot. But I do want to pick 2 books just in case, because this could be a very fast DNF. So yes, this is The Longest Autumn. I actually don't even know what it's about. All I know is it's rated lowly. That's literally it. Have I read a book like this before? I'm very confused now. I feel like I've heard this synopsis before. Tyrn is one of 4 humans rigorously selected to usher the turn of the seasons into the mortal world. Every year she escorts the taciturn god Autumn between the godly and human realms. Autumn's seasonal stay among mortals brings cooler weather, changing leaves, and the harvest of apples and gores until winter takes his place. Tyrn and Autumn end up getting trapped in the human realm. Endless autumn, etc. Tyrn's debilitating headaches return with a vengeance. Worse, Autumn's extended stay in the human realm turns him ever more mortal and vulnerable, stirring a new forbidden attraction to Tyrn. I feel like I've read this before. Like, something about this seems really, really familiar. I think it has to do with the seasons. Like, I feel like seasons got really, really popular to turn into, like, people for a while. And I think I've attempted to read a couple books like that. But yeah, this is The Longest Autumn. Kind of makes sense. It's a really, really long autumn. So let's pick a second book just in case this is a quick DNF. It does sound very romantasy-esque, but again, maybe it's for me, maybe. That leaves us entirely with short books. So we have only 1 of this pattern left. We have 2 of this, 3 puppy dogs, and 1 of this one. Oh, I have this one backwards, I can tell. What do I want to do? I feel like we should do a puppy dog. So let's just do the first one. Ooh. Try to make sure these don't fall. Ooh, this is a little chunky. This feels pretty chunky. It is a rounded spine, so it's probably not something newer. A lot of stuff lately has not had rounded spines because of the digital edges that they've been doing. This is Sleep Like Death. I knew immediately with that. Yep. Okay. I knew that could be an option. Okay, I really hope this is the Kaylin Bay run that I like. I really, 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 really hope that I like this. But I don't have very high hopes for this one just because she and I just don't get along. She and I, the writing just doesn't get along. It's like Ava Reed and it's like Stephen Graham Jones. There's something about the writing style I don't like. But we're still gonna give it a shot. I think this is like a Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella retelling. It's one of those. Oh no, she already did Cinderella, so it's Snow White. This is a Snow White-esque kind of retelling. So let's go attempt this one. So we're gonna attempt both of these, and when I have an update, I will come let you know what we end up doing. Very quick update. It is the next morning. I have a lot of stuff to do today. Like a lot of stuff to do today. I have to go run to Joann Fabrics because they are closing all of their stores. So I'm gonna go pick up a couple things of yarn for me, and then my mom asked me if I could go find some fabric thing for her. She has it in text messages, so I can just ask whatever it is. I don't know exactly what it is. It has something to do with like iron-on stuff, and I don't know how that works, but she texted it to me, so I gotta go ask if they have it because apparently hers didn't, or she just doesn't want to go back to hers because I think hers is like pretty far from her house and mine is 30 minutes, which everything is 30 minutes from my house, really. And then my parents are coming today, so that's one of the other reasons she asked. So they're visiting today and then leaving tomorrow, like mid-afternoon. So I am finishing cleaning up the house. We were in the middle of Christmas teardown. Yes, we left Christmas up through January because we weren't really home like that much at all in December to actually enjoy our Christmas stuff. So we left it up all through January because it was a lot of stuff. And we were like, we want to enjoy what we actually put up. So we've been taking like literally most of February to tear it down, and yeah, we had to rush that a little bit last night. So I gotta finish cleaning up, and it's mostly just a lot of vacuuming because we have a lot of flocked trees. We have like 7 Christmas trees. Not all of them like tall, but like almost all of them are flocked or have glitter or something on them that falls off to the floor. So I've been vacuuming for like almost a whole day. Like that's all I did yesterday was vacuum. So I got to do that. So I got a lot of stuff to do, and they're getting here at like 4, and I slept till 10 o'clock. I felt really bad yesterday. I think it's because the weather changed. I felt horrifyingly bad yesterday. I thought I was coming down with COVID, but it really was just allergies. I woke up today feeling a lot better. But that means I slept till like 10 o'clock because I didn't sleep last night. So I actually finally slept. So that was really nice. Yeah, so I just got a lot of stuff to do. So let's do this really, really, really quick update because there really isn't that much to talk about. Because I definitely gave both of these a try and neither of them were for me. Both of them were just writing style, and I looked on Goodreads and neither of these have done well. I'm surprised because I feel like people generally like Kaylin Bayron's books. I feel like I'm pretty alone with that one, but a lot of people just said it was really boring. And that's kind of the vibe that I got. I didn't like the writing style, and I thought both were kind of boring, especially this one. I really didn't like the writing of this one, but this one, just the plot just was not keeping my attention. And I feel like it's a little unfair with this one because I'm going into it thinking I'm not going to like it because I don't like her writing style. It doesn't give a lot of a chance to this author, but I just wasn't feeling it. I also am not the biggest fan of fairy tale retellings. I'm starting to figure out it has to be like really, really good or not that close to a fairy tale retelling. Like I feel like the one exception is like the Cinder series. I love that series, but I feel like it's very different and it's got like a sci-fi take to it. So it's really, really interesting. I feel like it almost has to go outside of the fantasy genre for me to really enjoy a fairy tale retelling, because I feel like horror or sci-fi especially, I feel like is really good with fairy tale retellings. So anyway, we have 6 books left. I'm thinking it's gonna be one video because this is kind of the amount that I was hoping for. So I'm thinking we're good. I think we're good. I think it's just one more video because I really want to get moving on the Fairy Loot video because I think those are going to take a very long time, because Fairy Loot, I believe, has my best DNF / rating right now, and I tend to like their picks above any other book box. So I'm thinking that could take a really, really long time. But anyway, yes, we have 6 left. Let's do, it's gonna be one of these. Oh my god, my stomach just growled so loudly. Okay, let's do, are we just gonna do Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo again? I feel so bad. I did it like a couple times in the last video, but I can't pick. Like there's nothing that is making me feel like I want to pick one of these. Like I don't know what it is. We just go this one. Okay. They're all the same. Like, they are literally almost all the same thickness and feel to them. So there's just, like, no distinguishing them. Foul Days. Okay, I will take this one. All right. Okay, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with Foul Days. I think I'm going to enjoy this one. I do have a paperback, actually, this one, so I might actually end up reading the paperback just because sometimes with hardbacks I don't necessarily like the feel of them. It's easier sometimes just to read a paperback, but I always get hardbacks and stuff because I think hardbacks last longer. All my paperbacks from like 10 years ago are falling apart and all my hardbacks are still fine. But anyway, Foul Days. I actually have started this. I started this a while ago, but I wasn't like feeling it at the time. I really enjoyed what I read, so I'm pretty excited about this one. And I do have the sequel, so I may throw the sequel in depending on how I feel about this book. I better like it. I better like it for having bought the sequel because I don't do that anymore. I do not buy sequels that I haven't read the first book for anymore, which is amazing. So anyway, we're gonna read Foul Days. Okay, I don't actually have a book update, but I do have an update of where this video is heading. And do you know how I love to tell you I'm doing something one way and then I just like decide to do it a totally different way? We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that because I don't really feel like reading Foul Days, but I think I will like that one. So I think it's time to go rogue and open the rest of the books and just mood read our way through the rest of these books. I feel like that's a good idea. I feel like I just don't want to put myself in this situation right now. And I feel like I should just mood read. So we're gonna mood read. So let's open up the rest of the books. I think we only have 5. Oh, I think we only have 5 left on here. And if I open one of these and I don't want to read it, we're just gonna purge it. That's how we're doing this. We're gonna be ruthless, okay? So let's open up the rest of these because I don't know, like I feel like I just don't want to read stuff that I don't want to read. So, and that's what kind of like it felt like when I opened Sleep Like Death and The Longest Autumn. Sleep Like Death is one that I should have never gotten because I know that me and that author do not get along. 3 books is like 3 strikes, and that was book 4. So I feel like I should never have gotten that one. So there was no chance I was going to end up liking it and reading it. Longest Autumn, that one was a little more tricky, but I just didn't want to read it. I didn't want to read it, and I didn't end up enjoying what I was doing. So this is about to be ruthless. I am really curious if I'm just going to say, no, I don't want to do this and purge any. Foul Days we are keeping. We are going to try reading that one. I don't know what the rest are. It's going to be very interesting. Okay, so let's see. First one up on the chopping block is, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. This was in here. This is Sorceress Comes to Call. We're definitely not purging this one. We're definitely going to be trying to read this one. This one actually may be a good candidate for an audiobook because I really enjoy T. Kingfisher's horror books. I love T. Kingfisher's horror books. I have yet to read one of their fantasy books that I like really, really love, but I did listen to Thornhedge on audiobook and I really enjoyed it on audiobook. So we may be looking this up on audiobook, but we are keeping this. We are going to try reading this one. I totally forgot that came in Owlcrate. Okay, next up, this one is much lighter. This feels like this could be, no, it feels like a square spine. I was going to say it might be an older copy or an older edition of a book. This is, oh, is this? This is Omen of Ice. Love how I had it right side up and then I messed it up. I'm going to try this one, but I do think this one could be on the chopping block pretty early. I have not seen good things about this one, but I do love a like wintry setting. So we will try this, but this definitely is one that I'm thinking could be a DNF. Next up, I love how I'm just rampaging through these. This is so much better. I do not like the wrapping thing. We probably won't do one like this again. I'd rather do a TBR jar. Next we have, I also don't want to rip the stupid hardbacks. What is this one? Is this Song 6 something? Where is it? There we go. Song of the Six Realms. We're definitely going to try this one. This is actually one of the prettiest Owlcrates in my opinion that they've done. So I do want to give this one a shot. But I also haven't heard great things about this one either. So this one is also on the chopping block like Omen of Ice. Okay, down to 2. This is a heavier one. Definitely a square spine. So probably a newer-ish title. Oh, this is Shia's Wrath. Okay, we're definitely going to try this one. Definitely a newer title. Again, haven't heard the best thing about this one either. I love how I left, like, I feel like the ones that, like, haven't done well to last. That's unfortunate. This is a newer title. I would like to try this one. This is also a fairy loot, so this would knock out a fairy loot title as well. And then the very last unwrap, we have definitely an older title. It's definitely not a square spine. Oh, this is the oldest Owlcrate that I have left. This is Hotel Magnifique. I'm definitely gonna give this one a shot. This one I think I could absolutely love. Okay, I like this better because I already have an idea of how I want to go about this. I already have an idea. And I am going to start with A Sorceress Comes to Call. Okay, I currently do not have an audiobook, so I am really glad that we did this, because this is the only one in this grouping that I would try doing an audiobook for and think I would like enjoy it a lot. So most of the time, like I said, audiobooks are for desperation. But I think this is going to work with audiobooks. So I am going to try this one first, and I think I could really, really enjoy this one. And then I think what we'll do is try a chapter for the ones that I'm nervous about, which is basically this entire pile. I think we're gonna go try a chapter. Like, I think that's the best way to do this, to get an idea of the writing style, because if I don't like the writing style in the first chapter, I'm not gonna like the rest of the book. So we're gonna try that. This is like a true purge. Like, this is a true purge. These books are going through the ringer to get through in this video. This is more like trials. It's like a trial video. So trial 1 is try a chapter. If you can make it through that, you go to trial 2. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so much fun. Did I read anything yet for this video? No, we just have Foul Days over there that I wrapped separately. Oh no, I did have Sleep Like Death and The Longest Autumn. I did already DNF, but whatever. They didn't make it through try a chapter, so we're good. We're good. Okay, so we're gonna go do try a chapter with all of these, and then I'll tell you what I'm purging based on that. I'm having such a good time already. Like, I'm having such a good time. Okay, I have the first update of this vlog for you guys, and I'm loving doing this. It's kind of like revitalizing my interest in like continuing, because we are basically at the finish line for finishing all of the Owlcrate books, and I am losing steam, and part of me just really wants to move on to fairy loot. So I feel like this is actually going really well for not being like that super interested in doing this vlog right now. So I'm liking this format. So we are currently, like I said, we are reading the first chapter for all of these, and I have read the first chapter for our stack of books, and I did end up doing all 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I said I originally wasn't going to for A Sorceress Comes to Call, because I was just gonna do the audiobook, but I decided to include it because, like, you never know. And out of those 6 books, I only have 1 that we are not continuing with, because I am literally 0 amounts of interested in reading it. And you guys should make your guesses. Make your guesses right now before I show it. 3, 2, 1. A Sorceress Comes to Call. I didn't like this at all. I didn't like this at all. And again, I think it's because I don't like fairy tale retellings. I just don't like them. It's super obvious it's a fairy tale retelling. Like, it feels like a fairy tale, and I just am not interested. I don't like that style of writing, and I'm not that surprised, because Thornhedge was just okay. This is even less interesting than Thornhedge was, and Thornhedge was just kind of like a mindless listen to while I'm doing something, and I didn't like the audiobook on top of that, so I would have had to physically read this one. But I didn't even make it through the first chapter, and I was just like, I can tell this is not my style of book, not my vibe. So I can see why other people like it. It is definitely, I mean, it's written well. It's T. Kingfisher. Their books are generally really, really good, but this specific story just isn't going to work for me. I can tell it is not going to work for me. I'm definitely, I think, more of a horror T. Kingfisher fan than a fantasy, but I do have Sword Heart, which I do think is different than these fantasy retellings that I've been reading. So I'm hoping Sword Heart is like a fantasy that works for me. But for this video, we are not continuing with A Sorceress Comes to Call. I feel like this is the biggest upset in any video that I've done so far, like out of any of the Purge videos so far. Like, this is crazy. I've read and loved T. Kingfisher books, so I'm just like in shock that this is happening right now. But if it doesn't work for you, don't read it. I'm not gonna force myself to read this when I'm already like way more interested in the stack that I have here. So I have put them in order of interest. And let me double check. Yes, this is correct. So surprisingly, Omen of Ice is actually number one. It's funny because I also think it is likely to be the first to fail if it goes a certain direction, because I do think it has the worst writing out of all the books in this pile. But for some reason, I am the most interested in it. And I don't know if it's just because it's like super simple writing. There's also two perspectives. So I didn't get to read the second perspective yet, but I saw it and I was like, ooh, a romantasy with both perspectives. I could get behind that. So we have Omen of Ice, then Foul Days, then Hotel Magnifique. Then we start getting into kind of iffy. Forshia's Wrath, I'm a little nervous about, and I'm pretty nervous about Song of the Six Realms. So the two that I'm thinking are going to be on the chopping block for the next trial that we're doing is Omen of Ice and Song of Six Realms. Those two are the ones that make me the most nervous. This one because I'm the least interested in the premise, and this one because I am worried about the writing. I am worried about the writing and where it's heading. The ones that I think are going to be the most successful are Foul Days and Hotel Magnifique, and then the ones that are kind of like could go either way is Forshia's Wrath. So I'm excited about this. The next trial is I'm going to read every book up to 50 pages, because that normally is like a very big weed out point where I kind of decide generally like if I'm going to read it or not. And then the next milestone after that is 100 pages. So it's kind of like the trials. First chapter, first 50 pages, and then first 100 pages. If I do get sucked into a book, I am gonna let myself just read it. Just read it. And then we'll move on from there and continue with reading each book, but I don't want to like stop myself from like really in a book. So that kind of is happening with Omen of Ice, which is why I'm going to immediately start the first 50 pages part of this trial. And if I get sucked in, I get sucked in and I continue reading this. But otherwise, we're gonna do the page counts. And I'm pretty excited about it. I feel like this is just really fun. I don't know why. This is just such a fun idea. I feel like this would not work for a lot of people, but how I used to read is I used to read 6 or 7 books at the same time and flip between them when I was feeling a certain book and go back and forth. So I'm kind of excited because it feels like I'm mood reading, but I'm not. It's very interesting. It's like I'm tricking my brain. So the rest of the night, I'm just going to continue with this little project and read to about 50 pages, and I'll give you kind of updates on everything, and hopefully we have some more interesting updates. I'm hoping that I love everything, and that would be crazy. But I have a feeling that is not going to happen. Due to the nature of these videos, I don't think that's going to happen, but I am hopeful. So we are going to start with Omen of Ice, and that's probably what you're going to get most of the update about, because I'm going to focus a little bit more on it than the other ones right now. So yeah, that was a quick update. I'm really excited. I probably won't update for, I'm hoping tomorrow, but I don't know. I'm gonna take my time doing this because it is a lot of pages and a lot of books. So we are officially down to 5 books left. It feels like I'm playing almost the Hunger Games here. Like books are just getting weeded out. So anyway, we're gonna continue reading and I'll update you when I have an update next. Okay, this is gonna be a super quick update, but we have done the 50 pages per book, which was actually kind of fun. And it kind of kept me from like getting too bored with one individual book, and it's like piqued my interest in the books that I'm ready to like dive deeper into the stories. So that's really interesting. So anyway, this was our pile going into this, and we do actually have one that we're ditching again. And the one that is not going to be continuing to the next round of reading the first 100 pages, or just the book at this point, because we're gonna see that might be a little bit too much of an ask to do the first 100 pages of all these books. We'll see. We're gonna see how that progresses, but we are going to be losing Hotel Magnifique. I was really surprised too, because this is one of my like favorites and most intriguing from the initial round, but once we got into more dialogue and we got to know our main character more, I literally hate her. Like I literally cannot stand her, and I don't want to read a book that is primarily about her. I also really hated the dialogue. The dialogue was so painful and felt very cringy. This just felt it didn't feel very well written compared to the other books, and I had no interest in continuing with the story, and I thought it was gonna be like a lot cooler, but it wasn't. Like it wasn't. I was really excited for where this was going, and I just lost all interest in it. So sadly, we are gonna lose Hotel Magnifique, and that was before 50 pages. I got to like page 35 and I started skimming and I was like, oh, there it is. If my eyes start like skimming paragraphs, then I'm like, oh, I'm not interested in this anymore. And that's basically what happened. So we are losing Hotep Magnifique. This is going to be a DNF. We are purging this one, which I'm really sad because it's like the prettiest cover and it is glow in the dark, apparently. I've never actually seen it glow in the dark, but it's supposed to be glow in the dark. So that is leaving us with 4 books that we are continuing on with. And this is my new order of intrigue. You can see some things have changed. Valdez has pretty much stayed in the same position. 4, she has Wrath. Definitely the most excited about this one now. It is so interesting, and I definitely think it only got better the more I read. So I'm pretty excited to continue Forcia's Wrath. I can see myself just reading this one and just sticking with this one. So we'll see. But yeah, very much intrigued by this one. Foul Days is a tricky one because I still really love the concept and I love the characters and I like the development, but it is incredibly slow. It's kind of the similar issue that I had with Silver in the Bone, where I like everything about it, but it kind of just drags. Like, I definitely struggled with Foul Days probably the most to get through the first 50 pages, but at no point did I want to quit reading it. So that's an interesting one. We're gonna see about that one as we move on. Song of the Six Realms, I'm borderline on this one. I managed to get through the first 50 pages. I am interested where it's heading, but it is starting to feel like it's going to be an insta-love romance, which is not my vibe. So I do think Song of the Six Realms is a good candidate for like the first 100 pages and checking in with you guys. Omen of Ice, same situation. This was the one that I was most excited about. I actually DNF'd this in my head twice and then kept reading it. Like, I literally have a note that says, I DNF'd it. No, I didn't. I did not DNF it. So we're going to continue this one, but it's kind of, again, it's in the same kind of zone as Song of the Six Realms, where it's feeling like it's going to be very insta-love, and I don't vibe with that. You guys know I don't. So this is the intrigue level. I'm thinking I don't know. I feel like I should read Forcia's Wrath, but I feel like I'm going to like that one. Same with Foul Days. So I feel like I should start with these just in case I don't like them, because I don't want to end the video on a DNF. Like, I just don't want to. It never feels good when you end a video on a DNF. So I don't know. I think I might just go into Omen of Ice because this is the one that I really am the most meh with. Like, I want to read it, but I feel like I'm gonna hate it. So I think we're going to start with Omen of Ice. We have our next update, and I actually ended up doing the 100-page thing, which is crazy. I'm actually farther than 100 pages in most of these because I did kind of continue on before kind of giving this little update, and I feel like I'm ready to give you like the books that I'm actually going to read in this vlog. It was like a super funny idea, and I'm also ready to give you a synopsis of all of them because I realized I didn't really give that much of a synopsis of these books while I was reading them. So anyway, these are, like I said, the 4 that we have left, and 1 has been knocked out in this round, and I feel like it's not going to be that much of a surprise when I tell you it's Omen of Ice. This is just written very poorly. I could not get into it, and there was like a moment where like a new piece of magic was like shown with no context, no understanding, no backstory, no nothing, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I really tried. I really tried with this one. And again, I feel like this is an example of this could have been like a really good idea. It was just executed really poorly, and it felt like the right stuff was not what was focused on. Like, the relationship definitely was like, yes, this is what we're focused on and that's it. I don't care if anything else makes sense. And that is just not the type of reader that I am. So I am DNFing Omen of Ice. I couldn't really tell you what this plot is either. This one is basically just like a human girl who, we're in like this world where there's fae and humans, I think, and the fae have lost their magic, and there's only like a little bit of magic left with these groups of humans that are druids. I think they're druids. That really wasn't explained well either. And some of the fae, like, they'll request one of these bodyguards that are the druids, and the druids are assigned, but it's super weird because it's like these 18-year-old girls who have never actually used sigils. They're just taught how to use them, and they're expected to protect the fae from all this danger. And I'm just like, this really doesn't make any sense. This really doesn't make it. This world does not work. It is so goofy. And of course, it's just like, it's super focused on the main character and the potential romance, and it just doesn't really go any deeper than that. So this is unfortunately a pass. I do think some romantasy fans will find this interesting if you literally just want to focus on romance and you don't care at all about plot. And that leaves us with these three, and this is just my paperback copy. I do like reading this better than the hardcover. Let's see, intrigue level. I'm kind of just like feeling about the same with all of them. None of them are like super intriguing me now that I've gotten 100 and something pages in. This is probably actually the order, but they're all like interesting me enough, but none of them are like, oh my god, I have to read this immediately, I can't do anything else. And that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for something that I was like, I cannot put this down. And that is not the case for any of these. I am actually currently reading Song of the Six Realms. I think I'm 150 pages into this one. So let's go through these very quickly, and then I'm gonna focus on one each. I may read them all concurrently, but from this point on, you are just going to see a review for the book at the end and what we're gonna do with it in my ratings. So let me give you reviews for all of them so far, because we are semi into them, and then we'll focus on Song of the Six Realms, because I think that's what I'm going to focus on first. First up, Foul Days. I am about 100, I'm like 100 flat pages into this, and it is taking place in this like walled-in city, and our main character is a witch, and it's a little goofy. The beginning, I'm not sure if the author knew how to do the beginning of this book, because it started off really interesting, but we basically were transported somewhere and then immediately transported back just to pick up a character, and I was like, I feel like this could have been done better. I feel like that whole section could have been done better, and I feel like we just wasted some time in the book that like left you kind of disinterested. I am interested in this one though. This is the one I'm most interested in, but I'm also very skeptical because it was such a weird way to do the plot. But yeah, Falling Girl, she is a witch, and she lives in this walled off city where there's like the inside of the city, which is Chernograd, and then the outside of the city, which is the Belgrad. And the Belgrad is like all these people who are wealthy and happy, etc. And inside Chernograd, the walled in part of the city, there's monsters and creatures, and at the beginning of the new year, there's 12 days called the Foul Days, and that's when the monsters are at super strength and they can like really come after you and stuff. And so this is taking place during the first 12 days, or the Foul Days. So I love that idea. It kind of went off the rails a little bit in the beginning, just because of it literally feels like we just did a whole plot line just to pick up a character, because we're literally back where we started, minus a thing that we're trying to find. It's very strange. It is very strange. I feel like nothing actually has happened in the first 100 pages. Then we have Portia's Wrath, which I didn't know was a Count of Monte Cristo retelling. Pretty sure it says it literally right here, but I've been trying not to read synopses of things. But yeah, Count of Monte Cristo retelling. I'm actually really enjoying this one. Our main character has been thrown into this really terrifying jail because of something that she didn't do, and she has a list of people's names that she is ready to go after for vengeance, and that's why it's called Portia's Wrath, because she is just filled with anger for what has happened to her and her family and her circumstances, and she has made a friend along the way who also is in like the same type of situation. So I actually really enjoy this one. This is really easy writing to kind of grasp. It's a very straightforward plot, so I'm enjoying this one just because it's very simple. And then moving on to the book that we are currently reading, and I honestly don't know if I could tell you the plot of this. I feel like nothing has happened, and this is like all vibes. I feel like this is the vibey version of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Like, there was a very distinct plot and atmosphere and everything in Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and I feel like this is that book without the plot. Like, it's got so many of the same vibes of it, but I could not tell you the plot. Like, I really don't know what the plot is, and I'm 150 pages into this. Like, literally, that's that's where I'm at. It's following our main character, who is an orphan, and she is I don't know how to say the name of the musical instrument. It's Qin, but it's a very pretty musical instrument. She is like a prolific player, and she ends up getting asked to come join a person at their abode and to play for him on like a contract kind of thing. And that's literally all I know about the book. That's all that's happened in the first 150 pages. And we just like learned something which makes it feel more Daughter of the Moon Goddess, but I don't see the purpose. Like, I don't get the purpose of this book, but like, I'm enjoying the vibe. I am enjoying the vibe and I'm enjoying the writing, so that's why I've kind of continued reading it. But I don't know. I really, really don't know. So anyway, we're gonna continue reading this one, and I'm enjoying it. It's just a very weird experience. Okay, you might hear a lot of background noise. The TV is on in the other room that's like literally right behind this wall, and my husband is also playing some games with some friends. So you might hear a little bit of background noise, more than I usually like. But I have an update. I finally have an update. It feels like I have been reading this book for a millennia. I have finally finished Song of the Six Realms, and oh my god, I'm giving it a 2-star. I really didn't like this. Really didn't like this, and I am so mad at myself because I actually tried DNFing it at about 200 pages, and then I tried DNFing it again at about 300 pages, and then I was like, I can't. I'm so close to finishing this book, and I want to finish a book for this video, but I should have just DNF'd it because it only got worse. Like, I feel like the ending of this book was like an acid trip. I don't think I actually can tell you what happened at the end of this book. It's also really depressing. Like, the ending of this book doesn't even give you anything after the slog to get through this book. It doesn't even give you a satisfying ending to the book. And it's not a duology. It is a standalone book that has nothing else that is happening in the series. I so didn't like this. I'm sad because I actually do like the writing. So I'm giving it a 2-star because of the writing. And I do think there was the capability of something to be there, but I fully stand by the fact that this is Daughter of the Moon Goddess, but without the plot or the compelling characters. It is vibes only. So if you want to read something that has like beautiful writing but doesn't necessarily do or say anything, I would recommend this to you. But that is it. This has such a terrible plot that for the first 100 pages I was actually like pretty interested. And then the next 200 pages were the most boring 200 pages I've read in a book in a very, very long time. It was so awful. And again, I tried to DNF it multiple times in those 200 pages. And then the last 100 pages, I don't think I could tell you what happened. I legitimately don't know exactly what happened at the end of this book because it was like a fever dream. I literally don't know exactly what happened. And then, like I said, kind of depressing of an end. So major bummer. This is definitely a purge, which I'm really sad about because this is like one of the prettiest books that I own. Like, it's actually stunning, and I am so upset that we're getting rid of it. I also feel like this is wrong. Like, I'm kind of mad. Like, I'm looking at the Under the Dust Jacket stuff, and I feel like I love this. I wish the book felt like this. Like, this is such a good like picture, and this does happen, but you didn't get the emotions that picture kind of makes you feel. And then the same with the Under the Dust Jacket. We have this gorgeous artwork. None of that. You did not get any of these feelings from this book. And I think, is the back the same? No, the back is even different. You don't get these vibes. You don't get this like beautiful romantic angsty story. It's that I wouldn't even call this like a romance, really. Like, the romance is barely in this story. Like, it's definitely like an undercurrent. Like, it's like you can kind of feel like it's there, but the romance isn't important. The plot is barely existent, but it wants you to believe that that's what's important. It's written very separate, like outside, so you really don't care about the characters that much either. And yeah, it's just not good. It's not good. I wish I had DNF'd. This is like one of those instances where I'm like, I should have DNF'd. I don't know why I tried so hard to finish this book. And it's because of guilt. I felt bad that I've DNF'd 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 books. I've DNF'd 5 books in this, and I just like didn't want to DNF anymore, and I was wrong. I was very wrong. I should have just DNF'd this. So I'm very mad. I'm very, very mad about this. So yeah, this is a 2-star. I didn't like it, and now I'm in a reading slump. I literally don't want to read anything ever again. Like, this is how much I really did not like this book. So I am luckily listening to Demi Moore's memoir, which is phenomenal. It is so good. It's very short. We definitely skated over a lot of stuff, but I kind of like that she did that. Like, she didn't focus like a ton on, like, she went through the Bruce Willis years, but she didn't like really hardcore focus on that. She like brought up her kids a little bit, brought up Bruce Willis's relationship a little bit, but she really focused on a lot of her like early roles and how she was like coping with them and dealing with them. And then she focused a lot on her childhood, which was insane. So I kind of do wish we had focused a little less on the childhood and more on her later movie stuff, but I really like it. Like, this is like as good as the Britney Spears memoir, and I do like it better than Dinner for Vampires so far, which Dinner for Vampires was amazing, so it was a 5-star. But I do tend to like celebrity memoirs when they are focused on behind the scenes of movie sets. Like, that's like my favorite thing about memoirs is when we focus on the movies, or interviews and they're them talking about what they were thinking during this movie, what they were going through during this movie. That's what I like. Like, I don't even care about the relationships as much. I just love seeing into their headspace about like what they were doing behind the scenes of the movies. And Demi Moore has done a really good job. She talked about St. Elmo's Fire, which I absolutely love. So I loved hearing about that. She talked about Ghost. She talked about, is it A Few Good Men? I think it's A Few Good Men. And she talked about striptease. So I mean, it's really fun reading about like behind the scenes. So I'm enjoying that. I'm gonna go listen to the rest of that. I only have like an hour left, I think, of that audiobook, so very much enjoying that. I'm gonna relax and unwind and listen to that, and hopefully that brings me out of a reading slump, because I don't really have time to be in a reading slump. I just don't want to be in one. I hate being in reading slumps. So hopefully I will get back into Foul Days and For She Is Wrath. I feel like For She Is Wrath is probably what we'll go with, because it's a lot simpler and like easy to understand and read, but I don't know. Neither of them are like difficult, but I just don't want to read either one of them. I don't want to read anything. I just don't. I don't want to read anything after Song of the Six Realms. So unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. But yeah, it is March 8th, Saturday, March 8th. And we have just finished Song of the Six Realms. And hopefully I get out of this reading slump soon, because I got stuff to do. Okay, I have some updates. And I'm actually pretty excited to give this update. Well, I'm excited to give part of this update. I did end up finishing For She Is Wrath. I actually switched to my Fairy Loot copy, but we are talking about Owlcrate right now, so we'll talk about Owlcrate. I loved this. I thought this was so good and so interesting. I love how the story was told. I loved the characters. I do think some of the dialogue was a bit stilted, like it was a little cringy at moments, like the author wasn't exactly sure how to get certain ideas across within the dialogue. Like, I feel like the author's writing was much better, like just general writing and not necessarily the dialogue. I think if this author can like nail their dialogue, this is so good. So good. My only problem, so I am giving this 4-star. I'm giving it a 4-star. I thought for a while this is gonna be like a 4.5, 5-star, but I didn't love the ending, and that's what makes me really sad, because I do think the ending was a bit abrupt and a little too easy. So this is a standalone novel, and I was really confused because there was so much left unsaid at about 30 pages left in the book, and I was like, how are they gonna wrap all this up in 30 pages? Or is this like a secret sequel book? Like, that happens a lot, where you think something is a standalone and then suddenly a sequel is announced and you're like, what? Like, what just happened? But no, this is a standalone, and it did wrap everything up in the last 30 pages, it just wasn't very satisfying. The ending was just not satisfying for what the rest of the book was. Like, I really wanted this like insane sword fight, because that's what the whole book is. The whole book is her being touted as this amazing sword fighter. I mean, she can take on like hundreds of people at once. It's more like 10 mid-level guards she could take on herself. But like, it really was never shown except for at the very beginning, and the end was like, it felt like it should have been this crazy showdown, and it wasn't. Like, she never really used her sword skills after the beginning of the book. So I did think that was a bit disappointing in that aspect. And like I said, I just didn't love the resolution. I didn't like, because there was a mystery throughout this whole thing, kind of, and I didn't like the resolution of that mystery. It just didn't work for me. I didn't fully buy it. So that's why the ending was a bit meh, in my opinion. But I still loved the rest of it. I love the writing, I love the characters, I love the plot. I thought it was such an interesting, very fast moving plot, and I was like very sucked into the story. So I am giving it a 4-star. The thing is, I have two copies. And it's not a 5-star, and I really don't want to keep two copies because that's just like a lot of space. And to be honest, I really don't like this Owlcrate copy, especially after reading it now. Like, I just don't feel like this fits the vibe of the book much. Unfortunately, like, I do like the spine. I think the spine fits, but I don't know. There's something like about the cover that doesn't really work, and then I just don't really like the artwork, and I don't like the sprayed edges at all. I was kind of hoping they would make a little bit more sense, and they don't. Like, to me, it doesn't. If you've read this and you understand the edges and like what it's supposed to mean relating to the book, definitely let me know. But I'm gonna purge this version of the book. I'm gonna purge the Owlcrate, but I am keeping the Fairy Loot because the Fairy Loot is phenomenal. Everything about the Fairy Loot edition of this book makes perfect sense for what this book is. So I'm definitely keeping the Fairy Loot version of it, and I'm so happy. I love this book. It was so good. Again, this could have been a 4.5 or a 5 if the ending had been executed well. So loved it. It's weird because yes, I am purging it, but not at the same time. And on to our very last Owlcrate book that we have left. I am up to 130 pages about in Foul Days, and I'm just like not enjoying it. Like, I'm not enjoying it. I am gonna finish it because I have the sequel. I did that thing where I bought the sequel before reading the first book, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm so torn on this book because I really enjoyed the beginning of it. And the more we're getting into this book, I feel like less the plot interests me, the more it's just like kind of devolving into a bit of chaos. Like, I get the point of the book, but it's just kind of all over the place. And the introduction of the new character just has made the book really cheesy. Like, her interactions with this new character they're not very good. And I'm finding myself just increasingly annoyed the more that they talk to each other because I don't like their interactions. I don't like their interactions. And I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a romance between the two of them. So I just kind of wish he didn't exist and we were just focusing on the plot and not like the growing relationship. Like, there really isn't anything romantic between them at all right now, but she is helping him and he's helping her right now. But their interactions are so cheesy and cringy, and the dialogue is so bad. The dialogue is so bad. The dialogue in this makes the dialogue in She Is Wrath look like a master wordsmith wrote it. And I just literally just said I wasn't the biggest fan of the dialogue in For She Is Wrath. I'm sitting there reading this and I'm just like, ugh, like I'm cringing at some of the stuff that's happening because it's trying to be funny. But some authors are really, really good at being funny. A lot of the books that my husband reads, they're really funny books. This is one of those books that it is trying so hard to be funny and it is not executing the funny aspect very well. So I am going to continue reading it because I'm interested enough to see what is happening. It's just, I don't know, I feel like nothing has been done in this book in 130 pages. Like, a lot has happened, but I feel like we are right back where we started. What are you doing, buddy? Oh, he just burped. He just chugged water before this. He loves this bed. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about this bed. Like, I don't know if it's just because we're never using this bed. It's very firm. It is the spare bedroom. He also just dug through these. I was doing some wrapping earlier, so yeah, he was digging through that, so that was fun. I forgot that was there. Anyway, we're ending this vlog. We're ending this vlog multiple days before I thought we were ending it because I hate this. I actually hate this so much. This started off so good, but it has gotten so weirdly corny and cheesy and so beyond painful to read. I even tried switching to the audiobook and I don't like the audiobook that much either. I think in the case of this book, I either needed to start with the audiobook or start physically reading it because the way that the narrator narrates it is much more serious. Like, even with the goofy dialogue, she makes it more serious. So it was just like too jarring to switch from like reading this goofy story to then listening to a more like almost like a very serious take on it. And it was kind of goofy, like listening to her try to be serious while talking about some of the things that were talked about So this book, I was like, okay. I was okay. I didn't feel any chemistry between the two characters, but I was like, okay, we're getting through this. We're getting through it. I got to 170 pages, I think, of like 340. And so basically what lost me is suddenly we're talking about going to this giant palace to confront the big evil, and we had to take Blackbeard's ship. Just random Blackbeard being in this. I thought that was so strange. Like all of a sudden that was in there and I was like, what? Blackbeard? What are you talking about? Why is Blackbeard in this world? Like it just felt super, super strange and very outside of what this world is. And then on top of that, she was talking about how he couldn't come with her to confront the Samadivas, which is one of the monsters in this. And he was like, why not? And she goes, oh, it's because of the pheromones. Literally spelled like pharaoh, like Egyptian pharaoh, and moans. And he was like, what are you talking about? She goes, no, the smell thing. And it's like, stop. Like you did not actually just make that kind of joke, like pheromones. And I'm just like, no, absolutely not. That's where it lost me. I was rolling my eyes and then it just like continued just to get worse because I still tried reading it for another like 30 pages. That's when I switched to the audiobook and I hate it. I actually hate this book and I'm so mad because I have the Owlcrate copy. I have a normal copy. I bought this the day it came out because I forgot it was coming in Owlcrate. But this was one of my most like hyped books of last year. And then I even thought I was going to love it so much I bought the sequel. This is why I don't buy sequels anymore. I do not own, I think I stopped halfway through last year. This was like, I think this was like my last purchase of a sequel before reading the first book. This is... so mad about this. I am so angry because this is so much wasted money and I hate wasting money more than anything else, which is part of the reason for these purge videos. It really is. So yeah, we are DNFing Foul Days and getting rid of both Foul Days and Monstrous Nights. So annoying. Okay, we only read 2 books out of the 8 that we were supposed to read. So let's do a quick recap because we are finished with the Owlcrate purges. We are officially done our backlist for Owlcrates. All we have left are current book boxes, which I am actively reading. So very exciting. I am done with these and it is making me think that I am probably going to be getting rid of the Owlcrate adult subscription. I do not like their picks. Owlcrate right now is very borderline with me. I'm still sticking with the young adult stuff because I am enjoying their young adult picks still, but their adult picks I'm really not liking. Like I feel like they should phase out Owlcrate adult and just do the individual genre subscriptions if that's how they want to do it, because right now they keep picking like romantasy stuff and I'm not in an Owlcrate romantasy subscription. I picked the adult subscription, which is just general adult books. So I'm kind of sad there hasn't been some sort of like mystery thrillers thrown in there. I'm sad there hasn't really been like horror. It's just like, because I don't think it says adult fantasy, does it? But even then, it's like all romantasy. Like this is at least was fantasy, like at least, but I just don't like their picks. Like I haven't been liking their picks. So yeah, let's do a very quick recap. It's gonna be really fast because I only read 2 books. Okay, so this is basically, oh gosh, this is basically our stack minus Foul Days. I feel like if I add Foul Days on there, I'm going to drop it. There is a Fairy Loot book in here as well. Okay, so let me save the ones that we read for last. I'm not going to go any particular order because we DNF'd lots of things. So we DNF'd Omen of Ice because I didn't like the writing, didn't like the plot. It was just a very, very weak plot. I DNF'd Hotel Magnifique. I just got really, really bored by this one. Didn't really feel like it was anything special. This could have been really good. Just didn't love where it was going. A Sorceress Comes to Call, which is probably the biggest surprise because this is T. Kingfisher and I love T. Kingfisher, but I don't like her fairy tale retelling. So I will try another one, but this one specifically, like the subject matter in this one specifically, I had zero interest in reading. And to be honest, I don't really love this edition of the book either, so I'm not heartbroken to lose it. Next up is my Fairy Loot copy as well, but the Owlcrate copy of Sleep Like Death. This author and I just don't get along. This is one of those authors that if she is in any book box from now on, I will skip that book box just because the writing style, and I guess that maybe it's the fairy tale retellings as well. Like I'm very picky with my fairy tale retellings and I just haven't loved what she, no, because I didn't like her horror book either. I didn't like her book either. So I think it's just how she tells stories I'm just not a fan of. So this is a skip author, not because of her, just it's me, and I just don't get along with her writing style. And sometimes it's that way. It's like Stephen Graham Jones. I don't get along with his writing style. And then we DNF'd The Longest Autumn. This was just a weird book. I didn't really like the writing, and I didn't really like the premise. Like once like we actually got into the story, it just wasn't very good. And then we DNF'd Foul Days, and yeah, I just talked about this. I don't need to talk about it again. It was bad. It was really bad and cringy. Anyway, let's see. And we are also purging, I was about to say, we're purging all of that. We're purging all of that. We're purging all of that, including Monstrous Knights, both of these copies. So Monstrous Knights is also going to get purged since I did not read the first book. And then the 2 books that we read, which is funny because actually both of these are getting purged. I just thought about that. So, Song of the Six Realms, I really did not like this. This was so weird. This was one of the most boring books. Nothing really happened in this book. The chemistry was not very good. The writing was good, actually. I will say, the writing was good. If you just want like a really flowery, pretty writing, but nothing really happens in the book, it's all vibes. Like if you want Daughter of a Moon Goddess vibes, but no story or chemistry with the characters, you should try this one out. And the ending was weird. The ending was absolutely bizarre and super underwhelming, and I hated that I finished this book. I really feel like I wasted so much time reading this book. So, also purged. And then, it's funny because I loved this book. This is the absolute obvious winner. This is a 4-star. This is Portia's Wrath, but I gave it a 4-star, and I don't feel the need to have 2 copies of this. Like I said earlier, I am going to be getting rid of my Owlcrate copy because I think the Fairy Loot copy is just so much better, and it definitely is more like coherent with what is inside the book. So that is the copy I'm going to be keeping, but I did really enjoy this. I would recommend this one. I think this is really fun. It says it's a retelling of the Count of Monte Cristo, which is really cool. I've actually never read that, but this actually makes me want to read that. That is the wrap up. That is the wrap up for this video. Let's quickly go over the mini stats. I don't have like many stats. It's just kind of like, this is what we have at the end of reading all these books. So for back with Owlcrate, because I already talked about Owlcrates and Owlcrate, but for Owlcrate, just for reference, I only read 14 of the 46 books that I was sent from Owlcrate / Evernight, and that is why I did not sign up for the sci-fi box. But yeah, I only read 14 out of 32 from 2024 and above, because everything is from 2024 and previous. So I had 46 books in total. I only read 14 of them. I DNF'd 32 of them with a DNF rate of 69.5%, and our average of actual ratings was a 3.57, which is really bad. Which is really, like, that is terrible. So in comparison, when doing the Owlcrate ones, I received 76 Owlcrate books. So I read 41 of 76, which is pretty good. And I DNF'd 35 of them. That's not so great, but it is way better than Owlcrate. Like, that's crazy how much better that is. The 46% DNF rate. So again, not great. Read 41, DNF'd 35, and then our rating of Owlcrate books from 2024 and previously is a 3.62. So it's not that much better than Owlcrate, but I read way more Owlcrate, like way more Owlcrate books. So that is the update for Owlcrate. We are now moving into Fairy Loot. I am so excited. I'm so excited because my stats right now for Fairy Loot, just my starting stats for this book box, is I've read 42 books already for Fairy Loot, and I only DNF'd 16 of them. My rating is a 3.62. However, I'm okay with that because I've read so many. Like, the more you read, I feel like the more fluctuations you get with what you're rating stuff. But like, I've read 42 Fairy Loots already, and we have so many to get through. So let's go look at the shelves because I do have them organized in order. I think basically in order. I think there may be like 1 or 2 or something that may be out of order, but let's go check this out. I will not have my light on, so it's gonna be a little dark. Okay, I'm putting it back a little bit because this is, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3. So all 3 of these are all Fairy Loot. So we got a lot. We got a lot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33 Fairy Loots that we have to get to. I'm really short, by the way. like I'm really short. I'm 5'1", and I'm feeling 5'1" doing this right now. I like feeling tall in these videos. So yeah, we have, what did I say? Whatever number I said, that's how many Fairy Loots we have. I am really excited about this, and I am going to have my husband pick. I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, but I decided that for this round of Purge videos, we are going to have my husband pick the books, just like the vibes that he's getting. He probably is going to be picking based on what it looks like. If he sees like random words in the titles, like he doesn't know what any of these books are. So I'm really curious how he's gonna decide to pick the books, because like I have to read them all anyway. So it's not like he's like, oh my gosh, I have to be really careful what I pick. I will be reading all of them. So I'm really curious how he's gonna be picking them. So this should be very interesting. Maybe I should give him like themes, but I feel like I kind of want to see like just for the first episode what he does. So let's look at the actual books really fast. I'm trying to do this the best way that you're not like getting motion sickness because this can go pretty high up, but not that high up. Okay, let's see. You can kind of see what's up there. I'm probably most excited about these two, Her Majesty's Royal Coven and The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I'm very excited for these two. I'm excited for the Adrian Young. I've loved Adrian Young previously. I'm excited for In the Lives of Puppets. I would love him to pick that. And then moving down to the next shelf, I don't want to read this. And I'm really nervous about the Cassandra Clare as well. So that is very nerve-wracking. Everything else on this shelf. Oh, Bonesmith. I have been hearing amazing things about Bonesmith. And then if we go down to the last shelf, I feel like The God and the Gamiho I've heard great things about. And then Sorcery and Small Magic. I've heard great things about those two. So I feel like those are the ones that I have like super high expectations for. So that's kind of what we have in store for Fairy Loot. There's a lot of good things. I'm very nervous. There's like, I feel like there are going to be a lot of DNFs here. The ones that I feel like I'm going to end up DNFing, I feel like the Half King, I feel like Long Live Evil. Okay, Half King, Long Live Evil, because I know what this one is about and it makes me nervous with like the chronic illness issues. So I think that could be a little bit too much for me. I think this one, I haven't heard good things about this one. The City of Stardust, Hurricane Wars, and potentially the Foxglove King. So those are kind of the ones that I feel like I potentially could DNF, but I am going to take my sweet time with Fairy Loot, because Fairy Loot I do have the best ratings with and the best like not DNFing books. So I do like, I'm gonna be a little extra nice hopefully with Fairy Loot. But anyway, that is everything I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are excited for Fairy Loot. I am going to post the first Fairy Loot Purge in May. I have decided we will be skipping April. I think it's good. I need a little break. I think it'll be good to reset my reading and just relax a little bit. We also are going to be visiting a lot of people in April. We're doing a lot of things in April because we have a lot of birthdays of family members, and I think Easter is in April. So we got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm not going to have a ton of time to read and actually do a Purge video. But that doesn't mean I won't do a Purge video at all. It's just not going to be a book box one. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely let me know down in the comments down below what you thought about these books. If you liked any of these, I hope you guys liked these more than I did. It definitely was a bummer what happened, but I am glad like I found Portia's Wrath. Like I really, really enjoyed that book. It was a surprise winner. I really thought Foul Days was going to be like, Foul Days and A Sorceress Comes to Call. I thought those were going to be the good ones. But Portia's Wrath ended up winning the whole thing. I absolutely loved it. It's kind of like Silver in the Bone. It like came out of nowhere and I was like, oh my god, I love this. So yeah, let me know down in the comments down below what you guys thought about these books. If you've read any of them, if you want to read any of them. Because again, what I think does not mean that's what the book is. Like, you should definitely try these out if you're interested in them. Make sure you subscribe so you miss any future content like the Purge videos. Definitely like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.